What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. Over the past decade, we've been treated to some iconic new horror films. I'm talking staples in the horror game, like Get Out, Hereditary, even Sinister or Conjuring. But unfortunately, we also got a lot of stinkers in that time too. So here to break down 5 more failed horror films, I'm Taylor McWaters, and here are the top 5 worst horror movies of the decade. Part 2. Spoilers included, like it even matters. Kicking off the list at number 5, Cabin Fever. And no, not the 2002 Cabin Fever with the classic 90s cast that everybody loved. I'm talking about the 2016 reboot, or rather, remake. I'm okay with sitting through some reboots or remakes, whatever the case is. It Chapter 1 and 2 was a good time. Even if you didn't like it, it didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth about the originals that you did love, because it at least tried to be different tonally. Pennywise was different, the kids were super funny, it had a modern feel to it whilst keeping this 80s horror feeling in there as well. It just worked as a whole for both the movies, part 1 and 2. This 2016 Cabin Fever is the exact same movie as the first. I have no idea why they didn't even attempt to change it up just a little bit. Like just a tiny little bit. The biggest difference is that the 2016 version lacks the charming qualities that made the 2002 film unique. Eli Roth had a specific tone that lingered throughout the original film. We have these college friends who rent an isolated cabin in the woods, and a man contaminated with this strange disease asks them for help. One of them gets this flesh-eating virus, and then it's a nightmare of a time. And they act like college students for the most part. The way it's shot feels like an 80s classic. The color palette Eli uses, the pacing, how these characters had interesting personalities. There were genuinely funny moments to them. The remake, directed by not Eli Roth, but rather Travis Zarni, takes every element you loved and just tries to do it again. The key word here is try. When you don't have Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World, of course it's gonna suck. I mean, obviously, you can't have Sean Hunter and then not have Sean Hunter. Come on, guys, everyone knows this. If you haven't seen the original, sure, watch this and you'll see a high school production of the Eli Roth version. That's it. Even the order the characters die are like the exact same. Like, it's one thing to pay homage to, an original movie with the classic scenes. Like It Chapter 1 and 2, they paid their dues. They added scenes from the book that weren't in the original movie. So on and Danforth, right? They just made it happen. They at least had fun. Why this movie was pitched, funded, produced, and released, straight to demand, might I add, I have no idea. There's no originality, there's no fun, and there's no point in watching it. Sorry, not sorry. Also, bonus points for this scene. Ah, yes. Whenever I see people fully engulfed in flames, I too like to stand with my friends and just not react, And before we continue on to number 4, guys, if you haven't already, please go ahead and toss us a like down there because it goes a long way over here for us at the studio. You guys rock, thank you so much. Now back to some horrible movies. Number 4, Ouija, or Ouija. I got ripped apart in the comments for saying Ouija. Apparently it sounds like Luigi, so maybe I'll say Luigi, I don't know. Produced by Michael Bay, AKA the king of horror remakes, like Texas Chainsaw and Texas Chainsaw Again, Amityville, The Unborn, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, maybe he's, not the best. Stick to Transformers, I don't know. Released in 2014, Ouija of course tells the not so haunting tale of what happens when you mess with a Ouija board. See, I saw this movie in theaters, my friends wanted to go. I didn't watch a trailer for it or anything, like a fool, like a damn fool. I just said, oh, okay, sounds fun, Friday night, spooky movies, let's do it. People getting stalked by an entity after using a Ouija board, that sounds like our high school dream. Everybody wanted to hear Ouija board stories. I'm sure if you're subscribed to this channel, you've probably used a Ouija board. See, instead of spending 20 bucks on this movie, I should have spent 32 cents less and just bought an actual Ouija board from Walmart. Yeah, they're like the exact price, it's wild. The entire movie is just like looking, just slowly walking and looking, not blinking, with weird music in the background. Like, it got to a point where I got pissed. I got mad that nothing was happening. It's not like in Paranormal Activity where the suspense is actually a driving force and goes along with the plot. This is just suspense to fill time. I'm not even wearing a watch and I'm like, it's time, I don't know. Ouija Origin of Evil came out 2 years later, and it's good, it's really good. It's a lot better at least. So now whenever people talk about either movie, I just confuse the both and assume that it's bad either way, and then I zone out. That's what happens when you take a concept that's already widely known, like a Ouija board, and you take a shot at it. and then ruin it. You ruin it for the other filmmakers as well. So Ouija, Origins of Evil stands as a prequel to this garbage movie. And the same guy who made Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, Mike Flanagan, made that prequel. He's amazing. He knows what he's doing. He's a top dog right now in horror. But the worst part is that I'm sure so many people heard of this new prequel and vowed not to make the same mistake they did with the first Ouija movie. Ouija board, more like Ouija, I'm bored. Okay, I'm gonna head out. That's fair. Number 3, Shark Night 3D. Ho, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, 3D is part of the title, which is always a great sign. Directed by David Ellis and starring Sarah Paxton, Dustin Milligan, and Chris Carmack, we have another shark horror. Nice. We have not enough apparently. Now at this point, shark movies are done. Just lock them away. Open Water was great. The Shallows, neat, good stuff. Shark Night 3D, not very unique. Just the same tale of, hey, check out these angry sharks that have great timing and know how to take humans out from underwater. It's like, that's not a shark. That's not how sharks work. The football star loses his arm at the start of the film, and that's about the highest the stakes go. The guy can't play anymore. This is crazy. He trained his whole life to do this. That sucks. He had a future, guys. He had a future. They all think it was just an accident, of course, but no. Evil plot shark has entered the chat. Well, rather horrible CGI shark, that is. This movie is like halfway between a cheesy TV film and like gory cottage horror. Having this PG-13 rating for a movie like this is weird. It limits what you can do gore-wise. And for a movie that has people being killed by sharks, you kind of need those elements. Like at least Piranha 3DD, double D, whoa, boobs. At least that had an R rating, so it ended up becoming this gory comedy slaughterfest. Like they went for it so it worked in a way. That's at least fun to watch if you're into it. Shark Night was lost somewhere in the middle with this ambitious plot twist that had humans behind the shark attacks or whatever. They tried to be new and smart and it just didn't stick. Sad face. Number 2, Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. Okay, so in 2007, Oren Peli treated us to a movie that we weren't even sure was real life or not. It was great. They had done what happened with Blair Witch Project. They just went on with this idea of like a found footage type horror, and they executed an original idea, and it was great. When I saw it in theaters, there were no credits afterwards. It just ended and the lights came on, and there's like 2 theater employees standing at the bottom holding garbage bags like waiting for us to leave. I was like, okay, I guess it's over. That was, what the hell? Is this real? It was amazing. It was great. And with a budget of $15,000, it has no choice but to be great. Now, here we are at installment number 6 of the franchise, and their budget is $10 million. Yet here we are with Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, on a list of worst movies of the decade. And if you disagree, cool. I'm actually jealous. I'm jealous that you kept enjoying these movies because I tried really hard to. The Ghost Dimension was released in 2015 and it's the same movie, of course, but this time they added this like 3D factor. So if you saw it in theaters, the ghost activity would be like visual and it would pop out from the screen. So now we can see the paranormal activity that we didn't see our first few times around. That's like making Final Destination again, but this time you have like a cool camera that can see death. And it's like a guy like me who's like it's just, it doesn't work. Way to ruin the only plot device that was working. Not knowing what was going on, lights turning on and off. Great, that's spooky. Not this. Wow, that's really impressive. I didn't know demons had timing. That's really great. So of all the cool demon designs that we've had in the past, like even in Insidious with the Darth Maul looking guy, they decided to go with this design for a demon. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just Venom from Spider-Man, no? I don't mind the series, to be honest. I'm ripping apart this movie, but the first 3, dare I say, were pretty good. The last one just clearly says, we're out of ideas, throw on these 3D glasses, and maybe, just maybe, we can trick you into thinking you had a good time at the theaters. Oh, there's also another Paranormal Activity coming out next year, so hopefully the budget's even bigger because that's what makes horror movies great, right? Number 1, Birdemic, Shock and Terror. You bet I'm putting this on number 1. The terrible plot, the terrible editing, the bad acting are just a few things that make this low budget horror like the worst of the worst. This movie's strange. It's basically like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, but for horror movies now at this point. It came out in 2010, I can't believe it's already been 10 years, but Birdemic Shock and Terror tries to tell the story of a quiet town in California, where a horde of killer birds terrorize the town. It's kind of like the 1963 Hitchcock classic, The Birds, only not good. See, this movie's actually really funny. Like, of course it's a waste of money. I can't believe anybody signed on to do this, but it's funny and it's so fun to watch. That's why I put it on #1. It deserves some sort of victory somewhere. Some of the shots are just too long and they come out of nowhere too. Like this guy trying to unlock his car in the middle of a bird attack. Like, look at this. Like, is that the speed we're gonna go with? There's killer birds attacking you and your friends. You know what? Better just wiggle this thing gently for like 4 seconds. I think it's locked. I think it's locked? I think it's locked. Add something. Add just fear, anything. I don't know. This movie actually had a premiere and even a small theatrical run for 4 months in LA and Toronto. Like, even Cabin Fever didn't get to see a theatrical release. Well, what the hell? How did this... And let me tell you, if I paid for a ticket to see a low-budget cult horror film in theaters about birds terrorizing a town, I would be hyped. I would think I'm walking into maybe the next Blair Witch Project. Not this. The director was probably like, yeah, get him. We're gonna add the birds in post-production. Don't worry, it's gonna be terrifying. You're killing it. You're killing it. And then it just shows a guy standing there like... If you're gonna tell a story, at least try and look into getting a tripod also, so I don't feel like I'm gonna throw up the entire film. Also, that's way too long for a movie with a budget. This movie was 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's way too long for a movie with a budget of $10,000. There's almost 2 hours of that, just people looking around. It's the audio mixing is so distracting in this movie as well. Like, some parts you have to turn it up really loud, and then the next scene, your eardrums blow out through your eyes. Like, it's, there's no balance. Usually you're not supposed to tell when the audio has been redone and then added afterwards, because it's supposed to be more clear, not the other way around. But always remember the one lesson we learned from Birdemic, Shock and Terror.
A day without sex is a day wasted, man.
Ha, nice, you said it, dude. Well guys, there you have it. Which other bad horror movies did we miss on our part 2? Let us know in the comments so we can not watch them this weekend. Also, if you loved any of these movies, let us know in the comments below because I'm curious why and how. We'll talk. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Taylor McWaters. We'll catch you next time. Stay spooky. Oh, and then it cut off. Go gadget, zoom eyes. Here we go. For like 4, 3, 2, and 1, I'm like just staring at them. Alright, cool. Hopefully that looks better than it felt. Huh? So Ouija, orange. That's what we got. I was like, you know what? That's good. The comments are like, duh, guy sucks. When I thought, what am I, Captain America? Where am I? You went off the rails. There we go. Like, that's literally what it looks like. This movie's so bad. Okay, I hope that looks good.